What's poppin'? How y'all feeling today? Pregaming Pigskin back. I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. Just ran home from work. Not even ready, but that's okay. I'm always ready. Coming to us, to my left, I got Kyle Edwards, Killer Kyle, Patriots fan, absolutely killing podcast from east to west. I'm just having fun right now. And coming to us right below me, I got the Godfrey, the TheEGodFrey. What's up, Godfrey? What's up, Kyle? How y'all feeling?
Good. Feeling better than Jamar Chase right now.
Kyle's on mute. Don't gotta unmute yourself, Kyle. We love you. We love you.
My fault? No, I'm good.
Nah, you're good.
You know, can't complain at all. Ready to talk some NFL.
How was your show earlier, Godfrey? Did you have a good show?
Yeah, we just talked about how candy corn is trash and you're a psycho if you like it.
Candy corn is trash, though. That's
I
very
completely agree with that.
accurate statement.
Some people will die.
So,
Die on a hill defending it, though. It's the best.
I don't know how you can die on that hill. You're definitely dying on that hill if you're defending it. But we got a hell of a show this week. NFL has been absolutely wild. Jamar Chase is hurt. Christian McCaffrey was traded last Thursday. Philadelphia Eagles got Robert Quinn. A lot of stuff happening right now. But we got a game tonight. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at home versus the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore is now a 2-point dog after they opened a 2-point favorite. Tom Brady has not lost 3 straight games in 2 decades. That's absurd. Could have happened tonight. You could be witnessing history. I don't remember the last time Tom Brady lost 3 straight games.
Yeah,
Godfrey couldn't even drink alcohol.
Has it been that long? I mean, I'll take it. But yeah, man, that if there is a team though that can let them orchestrate a comeback, it is the Baltimore Ravens.
Exactly.
So I mean, it's that might be the cure for his ailments. Now, I'm always hesitant to write Brady off because he seems to give the middle finger when everybody's just ready to shut the door on him. This could be his casket match. It could not. I don't know. They got a lot of injuries on those teams, on his team, and we did know with the subtraction from his offensive line, it was going to be a rough go for him. Not as rough as it has been so far, but
a 21-3 loss to the Carolina Panthers, who just traded their best player, fired their head coach, and they're starting their third-string quarterback, B.J. Walker.
I got knocked out of
the ultimate low.
Dude, that was my suicide pick last week, and I got knocked out because of that. I was down to like 24 people, and now there's like 9 left. And everybody was gone because of their loss to the Steelers. And I'm like, okay, this has happened 2 weeks in a row. And here I am outside of the winner's circle now because they lost to P.J. Walker, Temple University, P.J. Walker. How?
Bro, P.J. Walker. Listen, give Carolina all the credit in the world. Fired their head coach. You got Steve Wilkes operating as a head as their head coach now. Talking about the guy that went 1-15 with Arizona Cardinals. Why they got Kyler Murray. He had 1 season with them and drafted Josh Rosen. That worked out really well for him. But hey, listen, they played hard for him. They played hard for him last week. Defense played well. Mike Evans dropped the easiest touchdown pass I've ever seen in my entire life to start that game. And they didn't score a touchdown the entire football game. So how do you see tonight going, Kyle? Do you think Brady gets the ship right? Or do you think there's too many injuries on that line and Baltimore runs through them?
I went back and forth on this one because, like you said, Brady usually doesn't go through 3 bad games in a row. And I don't want to count on Brady. I'm not counting on Brady, but I just think on a short week and the issues that they're having, I have one in this one. It's hard for me to say it because I want to go with the Bucs in this one, but I just think with JPP, Justin Houston, Calais Campbell up front, and the offensive line still not playing well, it's kind of a recipe for more of the same with Brady in that offense.
Godfrey, what do you think?
Well, this is one of these games, if you ask me to bet, I would say I'm going to abstain from voting because both of these teams are just like carousels of unpredictableness, right? And you just look at them both and you're like, there's so many wrong calls that we've all probably made on these teams both so far this year. And, the offensive line is a problem. And you do see Brady trying to get rid of the ball even quicker to avoid getting hit. I think it's disrupting the rhythm of the passing game. Not having, he has the rookie Cade Otton, but not having that Gronk type player. And, there's a lot of injuries. Julio Jones is back tonight, though. I mean, this is such a tough one to pick. If I had to pick it, I'm going to go with the Bucs to edge this out, man. I just think they right the ship this week. And if it was a different team than the Ravens, and I don't think the Ravens are horrible, they just have this thing where they like to leave points on the field. You have the best field goal kicker in the league by far. And they love to go for it on fourth down and just take the points, man. Just take the points. So I just feel like John Harbaugh is always going to be that coach. So, I mean, this is a close one. I'm just going to go with the home team on this one.
Can I ask what a score prediction for both of you guys would be? Because I want to go off on a little bit of a tangent.
I'd probably go Ravens 26, Bucs 20.
So 46, a half a point under the over-under.
I go
Godfrey.
I go 28-24 Bucs.
So over. And Godfrey, I'm almost identically with you this week. I think that listen, guys, I've lost a lot of money in the sports gambling community by betting against Tom Brady because I hate him. I hated him for years. Never liked him. I'm an Eagles fan. What do you want? You expect me? He stole Super Bowl from me with Spygate. I believe he cheated. I believe it, every bit of it. Then we finally got our revenge in 2017 and beat him. But he's a rival to me. I'm never a big fan of Tom Brady. I am a fan of John Harbaugh. I am a fan of Lamar Jackson. But with that being said, there's no way you're getting me to bet on something that hasn't happened in 20 years. There's no way I'm betting against that. I love the Bucs tonight. I think the Bucs win in a high-scoring game. Most people are betting the under, think it's going to be an ugly game. I don't think so. I think Tom Brady's going to get the ball out quick. You'll see a lot of checkdowns. You'll see a lot of screen passes. I think Lenny Fournette has a great game. I think he'll catch for 60, 70 yards. Receiving, I think he'll run for 100. I think he scores twice. I think Leonard Fournette has a huge game. I think this game's way, way high scoring. Give me 31-21 Buccaneers. Tom Brady, just a 3-step drop, get the ball out, lets his big physical receivers get their hands on it and run. I think it's a Chris Godwin night over Mike Evans, but I really, really like the Bucs tonight. But that's partially because everyone's taking Baltimore, and I think that it's one of those things where you can kind of see the writing on the wall, a little bit of reverse line movement for those that follow the sports gambling world. 80% of the bets have been on Baltimore. Baltimore opened up a 2-point favorite. Now they're a 2-point dog with 80% of the bets on.
1.5 now. Went down a half point on free scores and odds.
Yeah,
not a lot,
or 1.5. It's not, but they went from a 2-point favorite to a 1.5 point dog or a 2-point dog. Give me Brady and the Bucs tonight. Whatever, they make it happen. Julio Jones, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. I feel like they're physical enough to win the 3 or 5-step drops. I think Brady gets the ball out quick, and I think that carves them up. I wouldn't be surprised if Baltimore took an early lead in this game, but Baltimore holds leads like Godfrey holds. No, I'm just kidding. But at the end of the day, I think that the Buccaneers win this one.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a trend I've been noticing over the past few years, and maybe I'm alone on this, but every time someone says this is going to be a shootout, it's never a shootout. Every time they say it's going to be a low-scoring game, it's never a low-scoring game. I feel like we live through that all the time. Everybody's like, we got this game pegged, and all the time I say to myself, man, I should have been off what everybody else was saying in the public or the majority of the public, and I feel like this is one of those ones right now. Like, everybody's expecting a low-scoring game, and I just feel like the announcer's going to be like, wow, we didn't expect this game to be like this, and there's so many games where you could even point to that this year, like, wow, that was a lot of points and didn't expect it, or vice versa, in fantasy or, betting the over under. I just feel like it's a trend that always has existed and always will.
Agreed, 100%. So we got a lot of big news happening in the NFL this week. A lot of big news. Let's start with what happened after we got off the air last Thursday. Christian McCaffrey was traded to the San Francisco 49ers for some draft capital. Kyle, I'm going to ask you one question. Who won the trade? And how much of second question is, how much of an impact do you think CMC will have in San Fran? Like, where does that put San Fran in your NFC power rankings?
I mean, I really like the move for San Francisco. I know McCaffrey has his injury history and all that, but I think in that offense, Deebo Samuel, I think Shanahan can get real creative with those two. Line them up, like shotgun, split, Garoppolo, or both can line up in the slot or something like that. And I think they're going to be a dangerous team in the second half of the season. I actually think this probably makes them the best team in the NFC West. The defense is still pretty good. I just think offensively they were a little inconsistent. And if McCaffrey could stay healthy, I think it's a big win for them. So since I would have them win in the NFC West, I'd say I'd probably slot them in behind Philly. And I mean, I might even be bold enough to say they might be second best after Philly at this point. And I do think the Niners won it because, draft capital is whatever, but, if it all works out and they end up in a Super Bowl, then it was worth it to me. I'm not going to say they'll beat the Eagles. I will completely
argue the counterpoint.
Okay.
I think the Carolina Panthers won this trade. A second, third, fourth, and fifth for Christian McCaffrey. I don't think he makes the 49ers that exponentially better. They run a zone running scheme. I think the biggest thing he's going to add to that offense is the checkdowns that Jimmy G likes, passing the ball. But I think that, it's funny because before the season started, my Super Bowl prediction was Steve Berman's that he made every year in the 90s. Buffalo Bills versus the San Francisco 49ers. I thought Trey Lance would get MVP votes. I thought he would be electric in that offense. Mm-hmm. And then he went down and tore his ACL in the second quarter of the second game of the year. After that, I was allowed a mulligan because I lost my quarterback, and I switched it to the Bills versus the Eagles. Doesn't change the fact that how much I like San Francisco. I think their defense is legit. I think Kyle Shanahan's legit. You might laugh at me when I say this. I have the San Francisco 49ers third or fourth in the NFC power rankings, and the team I have second is the team that won the Super Bowl last year, the Los Angeles Rams. Now, where did I get that from? They've been playing like crap, right? Like, why would I pick the Los Angeles Rams? The last game the Rams played, Allen Robinson finally got involved, and he looked like Allen Robinson. Then they get a bye week. You get a little bit more time to build chemistry. Van Jefferson could be coming back. Odell Beckham Jr., I feel like he's going to sign there. Really do. And I think with that bye week, getting a little bit more camaraderie with that offensive line. They got Cam Akers out of the building. They're like, we don't want you. He's just sitting there on IR or just like not been sent home. And I think that they're doing the right thing there. And I think Stafford really gets it together and the Rams pick it up. And I believe the Rams are the second best team in the NFC right now. Sounds crazy to have the 3-3 Rams ahead of the 5-1 or 5-1 New York Giants, 6-1 New York Giants, the 5-2 Dallas Cowboys. But I think that the Rams are the second best team in the division. I think they have star power everywhere. Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, Jalen Ramsey on the defensive side of the ball, Matt Stafford, Cooper Kupp, Allen Robinson on the offensive side of the ball. So I think the trade was a loss for San Fran. I think they've already told you they didn't believe they can win a Super Bowl with Jimmy Garoppolo, and now they're going all in with him. It doesn't make sense. I think it was a panic move. If you read about it, the Rams were very interested in Christian McCaffrey, making a trade that sends Cam Akers over to Carolina. And I think the 49ers made the move to keep him away from the Rams. I really do. I think they panicked and overpaid. to keep him away from the Rams. I think it was a bad move by John Lynch. And, yeah, I think the 49ers will be a 10-7 team this year. And I don't think that's enough. So that's just my personal opinion. Godfrey, where you at?
I'm kind of in the middle on it, but I will say this. I don't think Christian McCaffrey is going to be the Christian McCaffrey you see in Carolina. He's going to get less volume, so they're going to have to get him more efficient touches. I don't think they're going to use him in the red zone because he's not really efficient in the red zone, outside of the 20-yard line, if you look at a lot of his touchdowns. So the dump-off passes, things of that nature, I think it gives him another weapon. They're going to get a lot of their draft picks back with compensatory picks. Not all of them, but about 3, I believe, with Salah, McDaniel, and I forget the other head coach. And, they went all in. I think I can't co-sign, though, the Rams being the second best team because all those players you named don't do one thing. They don't play on the offensive line.
Yep.
And that is the problem. You've seen the turnover skyrocket as the offensive line has gone. And the guy that they need is on Thursday Night Football named Andre Whitworth. So I think part of the reason they didn't get McCaffrey, I think it was a power move by the 49ers to keep them away from the Rams, is because they don't have a lot of draft capital left. I don't know if they have a second. Yeah, I don't think they have a second round.
The St. Louis, the Los Angeles Rams, LA Rams, F them picks.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the problem is they're kicking the can down the road as far as that goes, and it's hard to get, the further and further you get back in the rounds, the harder and harder it is to get a quality tackle. And I think it's possible because the NFC is wide open. But as far as who won the trade or not, I'm going to go with the Panthers because they're unloading the money. They're getting picks. They need to rebuild. And I think that they know he has an injury history, and they don't want to be stuck with a guy that's injured. And I think it was smart to trade him when he's had some space between his last injury and now, because his value would have definitely tanked if he got hurt recently, and they wouldn't have even got what they got for him. I was surprised they couldn't even get a first-round pick, but even with that being said, I do think the Panthers win the trade long-term. But, again, with those type of trades, it also depends on who they actually pick with those draft picks.
Freddie asked about what? Freddie, I'm going to say this one more time for you. I have went on this show when the Rams are at their lowest point. They're down and out. And I've went on this show and I predicted the Rams to be the second best team in the NFC this year. I think they turn it around after the bye week, and I think they go on a hell of a run. I really believe they get Allen Robinson involved. You've seen it the last time they played, how much action Allen Robinson received, caught a touchdown pass. Looked like Matt Stafford was developing chemistry with him. It's the last time I'll say it, the last time I'll give the Rams credit, but I think that they turn it around in the second half of the year.
I think they need to adjust their scheme. They get the ball to Cup a lot, but a lot of those routes are long developing routes. And with the lack of protection from the offensive line, they need to get the ball out quick. Quick routes, quick slants. And I'm surprised they haven't adjusted to that yet more, right? And maybe with the bye week they did do that.
Not that type of quarterback, man.
Exactly.
He's never been that type of quarterback. He always relies on that big arm. He wants the big play. It's just who he is. He's been that way since Georgia.
Yeah, true.
But we got another primetime game to talk about. A London game, 9:30 in the morning. The Denver Broncos versus the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, there's significance to this game. I don't want to go nuts here. The Denver Broncos have told Nathaniel Hackett behind closed doors that if you don't win, we're not paying for your flight. You can stay in London.
Really?
No, they didn't tell him that, but the rumors out of Denver are they're going to fire Nathaniel Hackett if they lose the game. And this is, very reliable sources inside the Denver organization. And it's all but done. Nathaniel Hackett's gone if they lose to Jacksonville.
Can I ask you a
thoughts
question?
on that? Yes, of course you can.
So let's say they fire Nathaniel Hackett. Are they really getting rid of the cancer? Will they be firing John Elway? Because if I'm the new owner and I just bought the Broncos, I'm looking at him dead square in the eye. Straight up. He's, like I said, the best coach they've hired is Peyton Manning. So, that was his pick. He's done it several times over now. Vic Fangio. I mean, you could go through them. Firing Nathaniel Hackett is like, not firing the drug king, not putting a drug kingpin in jail, just a dealer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. I think if they do fire him, it's not undeserved. But like, if they don't get rid of Elway and they just keep with him, it's almost like the NFL version of the Philadelphia Flyers for my local, local Philly fans. I mean, it's gonna repeat itself.
Oh, 100%. That work. Listen, I have a list organizations and coaches that I think that are absolute mess, and the Broncos are one of those organizations. I think they're a mess. I think them, the Miami Dolphins, the Los Angeles Chargers, the Chicago Bears. I have a whole list of organizations that I think are a mess. They just make the wrong decisions. The Indianapolis Colts, but listen, they hired Nathaniel Hackett to try to lure Aaron Rodgers. And when Aaron Rodgers didn't go there, they panicked, overpaid for Russell Wilson, and now they're trying to run Russell Wilson in a Nathaniel Hackett, Aaron Rodgers type system, which is not meant for Russell Wilson. So I think that they should fire Hackett, but I also don't think John Elway should be the person that's making the decisions going forward. So I agree with that. Kyle, what are your thoughts on Hackett, if he should be fired? If you think that the Jaguars win the football game in London, their second home?
London Jaguars.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Jaguars in this one. I know both teams have been, I mean, they really haven't lived up to expectations. I thought the Jaguars got to a hot start and thought things might have been turned around down there, but their play lately hasn't been, on par with their early season success. But, I mean, I have no problem with Hackett getting fired because he's just made too many decisions within the season that makes it seem like he's either not ready to be a head coach or he's just not 100% sure what to do in certain situations. I mean, started early on with the field goal try that, didn't really make sense because they kind of went conservative on that drive just to set up a field goal like at the edge of the kicker's range. Then it's like, it's just wild stuff going on all season. Now, I do agree with the whole John Elway thing, but I think maybe that's a move that's an off-season type of move, whereas Hackett during season, I mean, teams fire coaches during the season all the time, so that's an easy one to kind of, figure out and place an interim and just make it through the rest of the year. I do want to see, with this news being out there, how does Denver come out and play? Do they come out and play and look like a team that's fighting for Hackett, or do they kind of just go through the motions hoping? I mean, not tanking the game or anything like that, but wouldn't mind if Jacksonville won and Hackett got fired. But I'm with Jacksonville on this one.
I think that Russell Wilson has lost the locker room. I think Hackett has lost the locker room. I think you can see it on the faces of players like Jerry Jeudy, Melvin Gordon, KJ Hamler. They've all been showing their frustration on the field. I think when the Broncos hired Jerry Rosburg to help with the direct game management because Nathaniel Hackett wasn't thinking quick enough on his feet to make game decisions, I thought that was everything that you needed to know. Like, we got to hire this assistant coach to help him make decisions. Like, what? Godfrey, you need to turn your damn Alexa off. Like, I don't know what you're doing, bro. Turn the damn Alexa off.
It's haunting me.
It's absolutely insane. But I think when they did that, you could see what was happening in Denver. Nathaniel Hackett's on my short list of coaches that need to be fired. So my next question for you guys would be, what coaches, 4, 5, 6, should be on the hot seat? I'll start with my list. How about, you know what? Let me ask you. I'll give you a list of coaches that are on my hot seat, and you tell me yes or no. If you think they should be fired, or you think they should be retained. I'm pretty
sure I know one that's on your list, but yeah.
Oh yeah, you know Cliff Kingsbury's on my list. That's okay. I hate Cliff. I'm a big Cliff hater. I'm fine with that. But there's way more. Okay, so let's start. We'll start with my favorite, Cliff Kingsbury. Should he be on the hot seat or should he be fined?
Hot seat for sure. I mean, they're already talking about taking play calling duties away from him. Then yeah, Hot seat.
Yeah, I agree. Hot seat. With that guy, it's pretty simple. I mean, you sign a quarterback to big money. You got DeAndre Hopkins back now. The NFC is wide open. You could even argue that the NFC West is wide open. It's not out of reach. Everybody's within similar records in that division. So, for me, if I'm the owner, I need to see a division win and a playoff win.
Yeah. So I'll take it a step further. How about Brandon Staley? I think
100%.
Yes, thank you. I think Brandon Staley, I'm not like kidding when I tell you this. Brandon Staley is ruining a quarterback like Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert, he was projected to be as an MVP finalist this year. Like including me, most people said, yeah, he's going to throw for 50 touchdowns this year. Like, he's got the wide receivers. He's got that team's supposed to compete for the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy that's supposed to be a defensive specialist because he was a defensive coordinator, and a guy that took a piss next to Sean McVay at a urinal, and they're like, you know what? You can coach now. You can have a team. You took a pee next to Sean McVay. And that's because everybody's, these owners are fishing for the next Sean McVay. Well, guess what? You're too late to that stock market. It's done. The stock is up. And they think that this guy was that. And I was out on him last year. He could have beat the Chiefs twice. He could have had that division. He blew it with bad decisions in Los Angeles. Then he shrivels up and has ultimate shrinkage and goes into Houston and loses to a feckless Texans team. If you cannot get your team up that had that much talent on there to win that game, so you don't have to worry about a tie and a weird situation against the Raiders, then you are not ready to be an NFL head coach, bar none.
Well, I do wonder with Staley, does he maybe get an extra year because of injuries this season?
Yep, that's exactly what people have been saying. I disagree.
Yeah.
I thought he should have been fired last year.
Yeah.
I thought he should have been fired last year. That collapse was enough. I wouldn't have let him get on the damn plane from Las Vegas after that game. You stay here. We're good.
Yeah.
That team should have made the playoffs last year.
How do you have that much talent and underachieve like that? Like, how? Like, I understand he's had injuries, but they've had some good draft picks, and I just feel like he doesn't plan for the team properly. He's not. I don't feel like they're prepared. I feel like they're always playing from behind in a way, not score wise, but as far as their preparation and how they're attacking the other team. How do you have them? Listen, to be fair, I would say the same thing about Anthony Lynn when he's there. How do you have that much talent and not turning it around? And this guy has more talent than Anthony Lynn had. They bring in Khalil Mack. They make some signings. I know there's been a lot of injuries, but you got to coach through that. You got to be Sean Payton with Teddy Bridgewater a couple years ago when you lost Drew Brees. You know what I mean?
I agree with you 100%. Brandon says, and listen, I want to respond to Chase. Chase, you said this on Wire to Wire too when I asked the same question. I don't know how we can put Kyle Shanahan on the hot seat. Do you not realize he was just in the NFC Championship game last year, and he lost his starting quarterback, and they had one of the top defenses in football with DeMeco Ryans being the next hot head coaching candidate over there? I don't agree with that. They lost their starting quarterback. They funneled Jimmy G back in there, and they're still a competitive team. I don't think he's on the hot seat. Do you think Kyle Shanahan's on the hot seat? Anybody?
Nope, not at all. Oh,
Godfrey, you're on mute, brother. The Alexa would just, put you on mute.
I'm just guarding from the Alexa. So, no, you can't put him on the hot seat. I mean, listen, he has his shortcomings, but, in the grand scheme of things, there are certain things he's really good at. I do think John Lynch is a little overrated as a GM, in my opinion, but Kyle Shanahan, I think, is worth it.
John Lynch got his entire, GMsmanship from the fleece he pulled off Chicago for Mitch Trubisky. When everyone's seen that, they were like, oh, wow, John Lynch knows what he's doing. No, just Bears are a terrible organization.
Yeah.
I feel like he gave some of that back, though. I don't feel like they needed to go up to 3 to get Trey Lance in the draft year. I just don't think anybody was going to take him before the Falcons. And I didn't see that going
Falcons
down.
were 4.
Well, I thought there were 7, or that
No,
might have
the
been.
Falcons took Kyle Pitts at 4.
Yeah.
But I didn't think that. I don't think the Falcons were going to go after Trey Lance just based on the
They
scouting
were.
report.
They
Yeah.
were. The Falcons were drafting Trey Lance, bro.
I don't know, man.
I'm telling you.
They
I
were
kinda
all
thought they
in on
would take
Justin
Pitts no
Fields,
matter what.
and then they backed off Fields. I don't know, man. I think they were taking Pitts no matter what. But I think Lynch is. I think he's overrated. I agree with you. And Shanahan can't be on the hot seat. No, I mean a lot of teams would kill for him to be the coach.
How about our old friend Frank Wright?
Unfortunately, yes. I don't want to build in an excuse for Frank, but the truth of the NFL is he's not the GM, and if you don't have the QB, you don't have nothing, and that's the problem. Now he's got the Sammy Sleeves 2.0 in there. I'm just saying that because of his name. I'm not saying he's like Bradford, but I feel
Big
bad
12
for
quarterback that had a good college career. I mean, you're not too far off with Sam Ellinger. We don't know what he's going to be, but listen, Frank Wright's going to get fired.
Yeah.
And I think it's a bad fire. I think Chris Ballard and Jim Irsay have been trying to get a quarterback because they feel like they're a quarterback away from being a Super Bowl contender. So they keep trying to like plug and play quarterbacks and then giving them like 1 year in the system to learn it and be comfortable with it and then be like, win me a Super Bowl, which is like the exact opposite of how this works. You don't just like, just get a quarterback over here and we'll win a Super Bowl. Especially when you go from like Jacoby Brissett to Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan in the quarterback carousel. I don't know, man. Andrew Luck really screwed Frank. I really think him retiring really hurt Frank's career. But if I'm being honest, I think Jim Irsay is an owner that I would not want to work for. I think there's a reason Josh McDaniels said no.
Yeah.
He took the job and then he was just like, Bill, maybe Robert Kraft was like, you don't want to work for him. I've been in the meetings with him. He's just not all there.
Yeah, he flies under the radar because he's in Indianapolis. That's pretty much what the deal is. That media market is the size of a peanut. If that was a major city, they would be on him like white on rice. Like, Irsay is not a good owner. He does meddle too much. He's had his own personal problems. And I think that they're just reaching for quarterbacks year after year, and it just isn't working out for him ever since they lost Andrew Luck. And, it would be a bad fire, 100%. I mean, I have a guy that I think should be on the hot seat. If you want me to throw in there.
Oh, yeah, come on.
Everybody's Hard Knocks darling, Dan Campbell.
Oh, that seat's super hot.
Yeah.
It's scalding hot. Yeah, I feel like he says a lot of really dumb comments. Like, I get you're trying to pump your team up, but if you're like, this is do or die, like, we got to leave it all on the line going into Dallas, and then you get beat by 17 points. It's like, all right, well, what's this week? You know what I mean? Like, I love Dan Campbell. I think Dan Campbell would be a great motivator. I don't think he's a great head coach.
He's entertaining. Give him that. He's got Rex Ryan qualities where,
but Rex was a great coach.
Well, I'm just saying, like, in terms of, getting quotes and all that. But yeah, Rex Ryan was definitely a better coach. And
but
I think
Rex
Campbell
was
built
good
it up
at
too much.
Rex could build you a D. He could build you a defense. What can Dan Campbell particularly do where he has an area of expertise? I don't know what that is. What, the tight ends coach? Like, I'm being for real. Like, I don't know what his area of expertise is except being a rah guy. He is the poor man's Ray Rhodes.
Definitely rah.
Yeah.
He's the poor man's Ray Rhodes. Ray Rhodes wore thin in the Eagles because he was a rah guy. You hear former players talk about it all the time. And eventually the story he kept telling to get the guys up before the game just fell flat because it was the record was played too many times. If Dan Campbell's in that world, that is white hot. It's Super Saiyan hot, his seat.
Oh yeah, he's definitely. I don't think he's making it out of this year. And if he does make it out of this year, he'll be fired on Black Monday, 100%.
Yep.
All right, so any other coaches that we want to add to the hot seat? I mean, listen. Don't get me started because I am a. I think I say this enough, but I'll say it again. I am a huge proponent of hiring black coaches in the NFL. I think there's way too many of them that get swept under the radar, that get fired way too quickly, a la Jim Caldwell, Brian Flores, that don't get second opportunities when they should. Josh McDaniels, I don't know, man. The Raiders looked good recently. I think he could be. I just don't think the seat's hot now. I think they're changed their whole offense and have been relied on Josh Jacobs. I think that's looked really good. But I'm a proponent of, like, Eric Bieniemy, Brian Flores, Jim Caldwell, Todd Bowles lucked into his job with the situation. He should have had a head coaching job again. Byron Leftwich. There's so many good D'Amico Ryans. Like, I can go on and on and on of guys that I just think could be better head coaches than Matt Eberflus. And nothing against Eberflus. Like, I don't think he's in the hot seat either, because the Chicago Bears have basically admitted that they're tanking. They've traded everybody. You got Justin Fields, a young quarterback over there in Chicago, with the 30th ranked offensive line now and the 32nd ranked receiving corps. And you're like, good kid. Oh, by the way, we'll take it a step further. We're going to give you a defensive head coach too. Go be successful, Justin.
They didn't put it. He did put it on the Patriots, though. I'm just going to put that out there. Sorry about that.
I think Justin Fields is a star that is just undervalued, man. I really do. I think Justin Fields will be a star in this league one day. And, like, when he wins an MVP, like 4 or 5 years from now, I think that you'll look back at this and be like, man, Chicago just sucks. Yeah,
100%. I got a hot seat guy. How about Riverboat Ron? I think I'm not. I don't know, man. I don't know if he's in touch with the players anymore. I know there's things that are out of his control. He's working for a bad owner, the worst owner in all of sports.
See, one day, can we do this, Kyle? I think me and Kyle can put this together. And Godfrey, I'm sure you'll have your list. Can we create the worst 5 human being owners in sports? Because there's so many of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, all right,
wouldn't be hard to do. Yeah.
Dan Snyder's awful, right? He's terrible. We can all agree with that.
He's
but, like, how much better?
Number one.
But how much better is he than Stephen Ross?
Awful. Stephen Ross
an awful human being.
Awful human.
Like,
being.
There's so many of them, and all throughout sport. And how much better are both of them than Jerry Jones, who has all these? Like, it's just like, it's hilarious. But we'll do that one week. What?
I thought of a coach for the hot seat talk.
Let's go. I like it.
How about Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland?
Tough.
The reason I say no is because he got to the playoffs and won a playoff game with Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield's proven to be trash in Carolina. Then they traded for a quarterback he hasn't got his opportunity to work with yet.
He got screwed. I just feel like he got screwed. They were like, hey, Kevin, you're going to take an L this year. That's pretty. I don't
this
know.
year sucked.
Yeah, like he's probably like, fuck. Like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't have that kind of swag as a head coach yet where he could just be like, no, man, this is ridiculous. He's not up there. And so, that, what is his name? What is it? I forget
Robert
the Jimmy.
Saleh.
No, the owner of the Browns and Jimmy. Forget his name. I mean, he gets entered.
Haslam, is it?
Yeah. He gets entered. He gets entered into the not good owner, thing with the Deshaun Watson signing, right? I mean,
oh man, $1 million contract for his first year because they knew he wasn't going to play. Don't worry, we'll guarantee your contract too, Deshaun. We don't care how much sexual assault you've committed. We're good. We're good with it. Bring a winner to Cleveland. You couldn't even. I'm not like, you couldn't even make this shit up. They had the National Massage Convention in Cleveland this year.
Shut up.
You couldn't even make. I swear to God. I swear to God. I can't even make that up. I wish that was like Deshaun signing here, but
dude, it's and the funny thing is it's not even really funny, but it proves the point of what everybody. at least I've said about the NFL all along. They don't really care about this off-field stuff. If you have enough talent, they'll find a way to get you back on the field. Short of murdering someone, they're going to find a way to get you back on the field, straight up. And they have 100% proved that with this Deshaun Watson thing. I wanted to believe that Deshaun Watson didn't do these things, and it was hocus pocus. He before that, he was known as being one of the good guys in the league. And unfortunately, it turned around, and I'm like, well, I have to jump off board because it's looking like it's true, right? And that's the problem here, man. And then the Browns were like, well, we still don't see what's going on. Fuck it. And, sign him.
Yeah, Jim Irsay, Key. That's the Colts owner. He's terrible. He's an awful human being.
Yeah.
All right, so we got a couple more games I want to talk about because, we hit one from each hour. So we hit the London game already. I'm going to go Jaguars 28, Broncos 24. I think it's going to be a lot of high-scoring game than it should be. I think there's a couple defensive touchdowns. But the offense owner, he's terrible also, Stephen Ross. 1 o'clock game. There's not many good ones. The best one on the docket as far as record-wise is the DeAndre Hopkins new Arizona Cardinals. I mean, he just showed right up. He's like, I'm good. I'm ready to go. And Kyler throwing the ball like 78 times in that game, which was exactly what you should do. Going to Minnesota to play the Minnesota Vikings, I think that's the best 1 o'clock game. I don't know if you agree or disagree, but records-wise, say it's the best 1 o'clock game. How do you see that game going?
It's going to be a definite test for the Cardinals to see if maybe they've turned a little bit of a corner coming off of the Saints win, where the offense finally put up some points. The defense got them a couple of touchdowns as well. The Vikings have had a great season so far, but I think a lot of people are still going to have some questions about them because of Kirk Cousins. Now, luckily, this game isn't a primetime game, so we should get good Kirk Cousins. But I think both teams have a lot of pressure because the Vikings, with that division and the way it's playing out, they can really take a stranglehold of it over the next couple of weeks. And I actually have the Vikings in this one. Well, actually, no. I think I'll go with the Cardinals in this one. I think Hopkins coming back has injected some life into the offense, and I think it continues this week.
Godfrey?
Oh, man. Vikings, I've heard someone say that they're one of the weakest 5-1 teams out there, right? And it's hard to read them. It started at -6, and now it's -3.5, right? Somewhere around there, which, I think the Cardinals keep it rolling. The Vikings, I see them coming down the earth. I just do. Maybe I'm wrong. Do you guys view, if I said, hey, I'm going to put you in a coma for the first 8 weeks of the season or 7 weeks, and you wake up and the Vikings are 5-1, are you like, really? Or are you like, I'm not surprised? Right.
I mean, I'm not surprised based off of their schedule, man.
Right.
They played a pretty bad Green Bay Packers team. They got their ass beat in Philadelphia. They played a New Orleans team that's absolutely dreadful. They played Detroit, who's got 1 win. It's not like they have a ton of real quality wins out there. They beat the Chicago Bears. I mean, they're a superstar franchise. Like, I don't know.
Someone said the line dropped because Modern Warfare just dropped 3.5 points.
Yeah. Kyler's playing.
That's hilarious.
The problem is Kyler waits for Warzone, and Warzone didn't come out yet.
Right.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Cardinals here. I think they got some juice in them since D Hop got back. He went. He played well last week. He was ready to roll. I just think that changes the whole dynamic of their offense. And I don't know if I don't think the Cardinals are ready. I mean, not the Cardinals. The Vikings are ready to stop them. I think you get good Kyler Murray back with D Hop back.
I think I'm the only one that's going to be on the Vikings this week. I think the Vikings win this one. I don't believe in Cliff. I don't believe in Kyler. I don't believe they'll be prepared. And the Vikings are coming off the bye week. I think you got fresh legs from Dalvin Cook. I think he has a great game. And then the best receiver in the NFL, Justin Jefferson, has a great game. And I'm probably the only person on the planet that believes Jay Jettis is the best receiver in the NFL, but that's fine.
I mean, that's not a tough argument, though, I think, to say that he is.
Well, most people are going to say Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams, Jay Jettis. Devontae Adams, Jamar Chase. But I think Jay Jettis is just it. Okay, I got a trivia question for you guys. There's only one game this week that features two teams with the winning record. Can you name it?
I only know it because I saw it before.
Don't say it then, if you know it.
Oh, really? You're going to put me on the spot like that?
Oh, 100%.
It can't be that one. It can't be that. I'm not even sure. Giants, Seahawks, right?
It's our 4:00 game of the week. Listen, I got to give credit where credit is due. New York, both New York teams have great head coaches. Not good, great head coaches. I'm a big Robert Saleh fan for the Jets, and the Giants, man. You can't. They keep finding ways to win football games. Brian Dable has done an excellent job winning football games, finding ways. They have 3 or 4 fourth quarter comebacks this year. They're 6-1. He's made Daniel Jones look like he's a competent quarterback. Who you like in this game? Did Seahawks? Did Geno Smith MVP conversation? Geno Smith, or laugh all you want. Geno Smith went into LA and beat the dog crap out of the Chargers. Laugh all you want. Pete Carroll is looking like a genius for getting rid of Russell Wilson for Geno Smith.
Right. I don't disagree there. I just think they're doing what someone should do with Geno Smith, is making sure he's not passing the ball 50 times a game and running the ball efficiently. And I would give them the edge. And I'm not a Giants lover, but no DK Metcalf, man. Are they going to go in with Marcus Godwin being their deep threat and being their number one receiver? I know he scored
Marcus
2 touchdowns.
Goodwin, man, get the name right.
Godwin. Either guy is not going to be putting up 22 points again.
There's an extra O.
Yeah, I see him. Goodwin. He's fast.
He's very fast. He's an Olympic sprinter.
Yeah, and that pairs it well with Geno. But the problem is, DK Metcalf's a big loss. It's a tough game. I'm waiting for the Giants to come back down to earth. By the way, I need a pump your brakes moment. Giants fans, and I'm seeing them all over social media, Barstool especially, talking about how Daniel Jones is an MVP candidate. Let's relax. I'm sorry, that can't. I'm not hearing that. He's been playing well, but there's other quarterbacks that could be like their MVP candidate so far that would be above him. I keep waiting for the Giants to come back down to earth, man, and it hasn't happened. And
when you got the formula of a good head coach, an opportunistic defense that creates turnovers, and a good run game with Saquon Barkley. Yeah, a lot can happen. And a quarterback not turning the football over. Daniel Jones was turning the football over at a 2 rate his rookie year. 2 turnovers per game. Then it went down to a turnover and a half. Then it went down to 1.1 turnovers per game. And now it's at 0.6. It's a huge difference.
Huge difference.
Yep.
Huge difference.
Brian Dable for Coach of the Year, Jeremy says. I don't disagree with them.
I don't disagree.
Robert Saleh, Brian Dable, and Nick Sirianni have to be the leaders in the clubhouse.
Yep.
Don't forget Nick Sirianni, man. Got an undefeated team here in Philadelphia. We don't talk about them nearly enough because I don't want to be accused of being a homer. But we don't talk about the undefeated Eagles. Well, not enough at all. But that's okay. Next week, we're going to have Cool on. He's going to be a 4th guest, because we'll be pre-gaming Eagles-Texans.
I'm glad that, as an Eagles fan, I'm glad the Giants fans are good, because I love that rivalry, and I can't wait for the Eagles to beat them.
I couldn't agree with you more. Pete Carroll has to be right behind those 3. I agree with you, Jeremy. Great comment.
Well, I think in this
Who
game
you like?
also.
Good. Who you like this one, Kyle?
This is another one I went back and forth on. I think I'm gonna go with the Seahawks in this one. I've just been really surprised by Geno Smith. Kenneth Walker has really come on,
Beast.
past couple of weeks, and it's gonna be great to see Saquon Barkley on the field, together, and see those two running backs that are both dynamic in their own way. And I'm, happy to see Barkley at least be healthy so far. Hopefully, he can make it through the whole year because that guy's just crazy talented. But my reason for the Seahawks, it was so close that I'm just giving to them for being at home, and the 12th man plays a little bit of a factor in this one, so I like the Seahawks in this one.
Did you guys see that the Chiefs acquired Kadarius Toney today from the Giants?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was impressed by that at first, but then I keep reading this report saying that part of the reason they were at loggerheads, as they said, was over his health following the Wednesday meeting. Passed a physical, but he said he was hurt. So I don't know, man. I've heard people label him the new Percy Harvin. I don't know if that's fair or not. I think he's a talented player. I just don't know if that's a play for the Chiefs that pans out this year, because Andy Reid makes you earn your playing time.
You know what my take on that trade is? Who the hell cares?
Yeah.
Who cares?
That's kind of what I thought when I saw
Yeah.
it.
Kadarius Toney, when he's
Yeah.
on the field, is a decent football player.
Mhm.
Who cares? He hasn't been on the field. Guy reminds me of a quitter, man. And this is another thing. Elijah Moore and Kadarius Toney need to go to a bar together and understand what winning is.
Yep.
Okay? Because they're not used to it. But they're quitters, and they're like, we're not getting the ball, and we're not being. Brian Dable wanted to trade him in training camp. Talking about let's get rid of Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay, and no one would take them. The Chiefs finally bid on it, which is fine, but listen, call it like it is. Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay and Elijah Moore can be bottled up in the same. We don't like to win, and when our team's winning, we don't like to be around. Elijah Moore's an absolute joke. He should be my goat of the week for asking out of a trade on the Jets when they're 5-2. Oh, Garrett Wilson's getting more play than me. Shut up.
And I'm glad
He's
Salah sent
5-2.
him away too for the weekend. He
Good.
came out and said already he's inactive. He won't play. And I'm glad he did that.
Good.
Yeah,
That's how you create a winning culture.
exactly.
When you snuff that type of crap out, and that's what really, truthfully, what happened with Kadarius Toney and Kenny Galladay. Brian Dable was like, I'm not playing this crap anymore. This is a new team. This is a new era. And this is how we're going to roll. Are you on board? Are you going to ride like Russ? Just kidding. Russ, I love that. Let's ride, Bronco. I can't get over that. But, I mean, that's how you create a new culture. You have to set a tone. And all the great coaches of the past have done that. And
Agreed.
sometimes those players turn out better, on the other side. It's rare, but you can look at Buddy Ryan cutting Chris Carter and becoming a Hall of Fame talent. And Chris Carter said he needed that. And some of these young guys need that reality check. They got the talent, but they don't have the mental toughness. They don't have the heart. And Tony is labeled the new Percy Harvin until proven true. Probably has all the talent, but does he want
Jeremy, I love you. Broncos
So.
country. They're dead inside.
to? Fans,
So
they have to feel that way. It's so true.
next game on the docket, you got the Sunday night football game. I bet you when NBC booked this game, they were like, this is going to be a great game. Aaron Rodgers versus Josh Allen.
Yep.
And then I think now they're realizing how awful a football game this is going to be. When does the slide end? I'll make a prediction for you. I think Aaron Rodgers loses this game and then loses next game at Detroit. I don't think that team gets it together, man. He's out there, and I think the funny thing to me is they have Aaron Rodgers is on TV shows and the Pat McAfee show criticizing his teammates, his young teammates, saying, yeah, if they're not doing well, we got to try somebody else and we got to sit them down. Dude, shut up. Like, yeah, that might be my word of the week, dude. Shut up. Just like one word. We'll put it together. Shut up. Is there a more pompous jackass in the NFL right now than Aaron Rodgers?
No.
No, not at all.
I mean, I remember you having this argument with Shally about Aaron Rodgers, and he was a good. You were saying he's a good player, and you're right. But man, he is not a good teammate, man. He's all about Aaron Rodgers, and my theory on him is he was never going to leave Green Bay because he doesn't want the smoke of a major sports city. He'd rather be in Green Bay where he can control it.
Yep.
And that's the truth. You know, imagine him being in Philly saying RELAX, relax. Oh my God, the town would have exploded. He just, he's not.
I think he really wanted to leave Green Bay. I think the Green Bay held him captive. And I think he took the $50 million and just said, whatever. I'll show up, $50 million. And he just says whatever he wants, man.
What a mistake on Green Bay, though, not to make it work out with Davante Adams and acquiesce to his trade demand. I know it would have been harder with the contract, but, man, that was such a mistake on their part. And look at what the Chiefs got for Tyreek Hill in comparison to what the Packers got for Davante Adams. They know they messed up.
100%. 100%. I think if you take it a step further, they had the opportunity to move up, package a couple picks together, move up and get a wide receiver that they wanted. And they took the second best linebacker out of Georgia, Quay Walker, with their first round draft pick, and then relied on Christian Watson to be the savior. And hasn't caught a ball since North Dakota State. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo wins this game. Buffalo's a very good front running team. They're coming off a bye. I think they get out early, and I think this game gets ugly. There's no way Aaron Rodgers can keep up with Josh Allen in this one. I actually really love the Buffalo Bills minus 11.5. I think they win the game by 30. I think it's ugly. 41-13.
And I kind of agree with
Alan Lazard.
Jeremy's point here about, you can kind of talk about the wide receivers he has, but who does Aaron Rodgers really make better throughout his career? That's the biggest thing I said between he and Brady when people try to have that conversation. Like, Brady's won with guys like Jabbar Gaffney, like Doug Gabriel, David Gibbons.
Edelman wasn't even a receiver.
Right.
They turned him into one.
Names, and it seems like Aaron Rodgers can only win Davante Adams. Everybody
Do
else
you remember Troy Brown, Deion Branch? Like, that was like
I still have nightmares.
Troy Brown. What?
I still have nightmares. Deion Branch in Super Bowl, whatever.
Bro,
Super Bowl I'm talking
Troy
about.
Brown played cornerback when you guys were short cornerbacks?
Yep.
He was playing wide receiver. He was playing both ways like it was high school football.
Yeah. Edelman did that too for a few games as well. That's what I'm saying. Like, Brady can do that. Rodgers, we would never expect him to do that because he'll do stuff like you just said, go on Pat McAfee and dog out his wide receivers. He dogged out the young wide receivers in training camp. So he already set this up from months ago, and now it's. I mean, I don't know what they do. They're kind of stuck with him at this point. What helps is that Jordan Love isn't ready to take over. So what do?
Well, they're paying him $50 million.
Well, yeah,
no one can take over.
Well, that's true, but I mean, like, there's no pressure. And
oh no, not at all. Aaron Rodgers is collecting a check.
Yeah.
Matt LaFleur is going to be another coaching casualty because of it.
And you know what? I was convinced because, in my view, the best healthy wide receiver, because I'm talking about Jameson Williams, was in this past draft coming out, was Chris Olave. I thought he was the sharpest route runner, and I thought that is the guy Green Bay has to get. They have to get him, whether they have to move up or whatever. That's the guy they need to get. And it's showing right now with subpar quarterbacks that he's playing with, and he's still producing. That kid was ready for the NFL as soon as his college career was over. Bar none. And they didn't do that. And they go, let's get Christian Watson. And then Rodgers just doesn't, he doesn't make them better, And I knew at a lot of shares of Alan Lazard, that was the guy that he was going to throw to, he was most comfortable with. And now this week they don't have him. They got Sammy Watkins back, but as soon as he catches a pass longer than 20 yards, his hamstring will explode. And then he'll be gone for 4 more weeks. I mean, it's like clockwork. So
Romeo Dobbs.
Yeah. He's not
I don't
building
know.
confidence in that guy. I think he could be good. He's
I'm
destroying
making
his
shit
confidence.
up at this point, bro. I don't know if they have anything. Like I hate everything about Green Bay. I hate their soft zone defense. The only thing I like about Green Bay is Jair Alexander. He's the best corner in football. Outside that, I hate everything about him. I really do. We got one more game on the docket before Thursday Night Football, and we always try to end the show before Thursday Night Football starts, so we can watch your football on Amazon Prime. Last game on the docket, Monday Night Football. Cincinnati Bengals just took a huge L, man. Jamar Chase is expecting to miss 4 to 6 weeks with a hip injury. They're going to go into Cleveland and play the Cleveland Browns, who, by the way, Cincinnati never beats Cleveland. Cleveland always beats Cincinnati. They've had their number for years. I'll predict the upset. Give me the Browns. Give me the Browns money line over the Cincinnati Bengals without Jamar Chase. I love the Bengals. I love Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is my guy. But for whatever reason, whenever they play at Cleveland, man, they just seem to have issues. And give me the Browns. Give me Nick Chubb. Give me Kareem Hunt, Amari Cooper, Jacoby Brissett. I'll take that offense, moving the ball enough. And I think T. Higgins, I think the biggest person that gets the boost on that team, if you're thinking fantasy-wise, is Tyler Boyd.
Yep.
I think T. Higgins becomes the doubled outside X receiver that gets doubled every play. And I think that you'll see Tyler Boyd. And Hayden Hurst is another one. They'll see a lot more targets.
Yeah. Before the Jamar Chase news, I loved the Bengals in this matchup. Now with hearing that, I still like the Bengals. I know that they've had a tough time with the Browns, but I don't know. I guess I'm just expecting it to be different this year because I think the Bengals, once again, before the Chase injury, were starting to really click offensively. You know, Boyd and Higgins were finding their way when, you know, teams were doubling Chase. Boyd, most especially, was, you know, getting wide open. And I just think they kind of slot up, and now Hurst maybe takes on the Boyd role, and he breaks out in this game. So I still like the Bengals, but with the Chase injury, it's going to be a little bit closer. But like I said, I'm sticking with the Bengals.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm with Gene on this one. I just, you know, the front seven is real banged up for Cincinnati. Trey Hendrickson's hurt. They're not playing well, that front seven in Cincinnati. And I just think this is one of these games where Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt can just run wild on the Bengals. Control the game flow, run the ball down their throats, and, you know, there will be some points to be scored, but I think this is a sneaky over, and I think I would take the points with the Browns.
I like it. I like the Browns this week. Final question. I know the game starts now, but we started a little bit late, so I just wanted to ask you guys this question. With the trade deadline being Tuesday, what player gets moved to what team? Give me a name. Give me a player you see getting moved. I have a couple. I think the Eagles are going to trade for a running back. I hope it's not Alvin Kamara. I really hope it's not Alvin Kamara. I'll take Kareem Hunt. I think a complimentary back to play with Miles Sanders is exactly what the Philadelphia Eagles need. I'll start there. They already made the trade for Robert Quinn. What other piece gets moved before the trade deadline?
I think the Eagles should go after David Montgomery. He's a free agent next year, which means you won't have to pay a lot for him. I doubt the Bears are going to re-sign him because they're going to probably go Herbert. It's a cheaper option at running back, 6th-round pick. I see if I see the Eagles adding someone, it's going to be Hunt or it's going to be Montgomery. I think the Browns might be asking too much for Hunt. I could be wrong, but, you know, I think you could get David Montgomery for a 3rd-round pick, maybe 4, maybe a 4th-rounder.
If the Browns lose on Monday Night Football, they will dump Kareem Hunt 100% Tuesday morning. 100%. Right.
Rooting for the Bengals now. Who that?
Kyle, any team, any player?
When you first said it, I thought of Hunt immediately because it seemed like his role is diminishing with Cleveland. It seemed like when he first got there, he and Chubb split, but now they lean more to Chubb, and Hunt kind of gets sprinkled in. So I think he's gone. In terms of a team, oh man, I couldn't really think of a team, but once you said Philly, I mean, he would fit perfectly there. So I'm not mad. I'm not mad at that, but I do think as a name, Kareem Hunt is a guy who probably gets moved for sure.
Hunt worries me a little bit, like Kamara worries me a little bit. I don't know what kind of locker room guy he's going to be. Kamara's got some baggage. Hunt worries me for the Eagles because of, is he in the mindset of, hey, I'm not a feature back anymore? Because remember, he held out. He wanted money at the beginning of the season, and he's up there. He's about 28, 29, and that's the twilight years for most running backs. So is he a guy that's like, hey, I'm a team guy, I want to win a championship? Or is he a me guy? And I'm not so sure about Hunt. I don't have the the intel on that, but it's a question that would be in my mind.
My only thing with Kareem Hunt is this, and I didn't mind him holding out for money because that man's never got a payday. Because of a situation that happened in the hotel room in which, I don't like what he did, but I'm not going to say I don't understand what he did. Someone's banging on his door, yelling racial obscenities through the door. Someone's holding him back, and he flails his foot and barely kicks the girl. Like, he didn't full on Joe Mixon the girl. But I don't condone that. But he's never gotten a payday. He got fired or released from the Kansas City Chiefs for that. He got signed for an awful deal by Cleveland to get him back in the league, which is what he needed. But He's never gotten a payday. So,
but remember, he lied to Andy, though. That's why he really got cut.
100%. Guys, just last. I know I said last question, but I want one more. Give me your top 2 running backs in football. If you were starting a franchise for 1 year, just 1 year, because I want the best 2 running backs in football. Because we're just talking about Nick Chubb, and Nick Chubb's one of mine.
Yeah, Chubb's
but I want to kind of
Chubb.
see what your thought process would be.
I got an off the radar one, and this I might get to me for this, but I'm gonna go Josh Jacobs.
Oh, that's a terrible pick.
I mean, he's been producing, right? I mean,
Yeah, he's been producing this year.
I mean, I think he's got something to prove, and they've been doubting him, for the last year, and they're probably going to ride until the wheels fall off this year. That's probably the plan. But
I probably would have told you Breece Hall before he tore his ACL.
Well, yeah, that's what's. Like, you know what? Can I take it back? I forgot about Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker's good.
Yeah,
and like you're at an age in. I think Nick Chubb is the best pure running back in football. I don't think he catches the ball enough, which kind of hurts his overall value. I think Dameon Pierce is going to be an absolute stud in the NFL. I will tell you this, man. I said this last year and it almost happened. I'll say it again this year. Zeke's not going to play this Sunday. I'm not saying Tony Pollard's top running back. I don't. But it's bad news that Tony Pollard's going to get a full start in Dallas because he is clearly, to me, the better running back on the Dallas Cowboys. Clearly. So
Javonte Williams would be a guy to be on my short list before he got hurt. I'm a big fan of his. Yeah, and then he got hurt. Breece Hall, man, he was just electric. What a shame that was for him to
The Ravens are already in the red zone, guys. We got to get off the show. It's already first and goal. A muffed fumble, a muffed kick. Second and goal right now. Guys, let's tune into Thursday Night Football. I appreciate everybody hopping on. I'm sorry we're a little bit late this week. We vow to be better next week. But it's good conversation, man. It's always fun talking with THEEGODFREY. And Kyle Edwards is like, man, it's been a guy that I'm so happy to have met, being able to talk sports with. It's fun to get on here with him every week, and we're building something huge here, man. Each week our views have gotten bigger. Each week our downloads have gotten more, and appreciate you guys. So, any final thoughts, Kyle? V?
Yeah, I'll just say you're ready for football, and name to look out for also for the trade deadline, Damian Harris. I'm just gonna throw that out there.
I like that.
I take him on the Eagles.
I like that. All right, Godfrey, any final thoughts?
No final thoughts. Just watch out. Handcuff your running backs. That's all I got to say. It's injury season.
All right. Well, this is the NFL genius, Gene Walzak, Kyle Edwards, the Godfrey, Pregaming Pigskin. We're signing out.
Yep.